It was the French-Canadian Francois Martel who rode off into the sunset at Tsukuba in round one, and if there's a driver who would love to forget it, it's David Schofield. After losing control on the final corner of the first lap, finding himself at the back of the field, Schofield managed to claw back to an incredible sixth-place finish in the end. Will Schofield return tonight and deliver an exclamation point to his impressive comeback 2 weeks ago? Or will Francois Martel deliver a 1-2 punch to start the series? We'll find out together tonight. Round 2 of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge begins next. Our venue for this evening is the club layout of the virtual Sebring International Raceway, home of the legendary 12 Hours of Sebring. However, this layout is going to feel a lot different tonight since we aren't using the south side of the course. Begins with the Fangio chicane down to Cunningham Corner, followed by Collier Curve, Tower Turn and Flying Fortress Straight next, into Rabbit Bend, and into turns 7 and 8. Down to the hairpin. A lot of curving on the outside you'll want to use as you go flat out through the Fangio chicane to complete a lap. Our format for this evening is as follows. Drivers are starting to exit the pits for 15 minutes of open qualifying, which will set the grid for our 45-minute feature race. All the cars are running a fixed setup with no traction control or anti-lock brakes. Each car is capped at about 7 gallons of fuel to begin the race, so we will see a mandatory pit stop for each of them. The inaugural season of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge continues tonight on the Automotive Sports Network. With Bryan Sawyer on the production truck, Justin Robichaud next to me in the commentary box, my name is Josh Mertz as we welcome you to Sebring, Florida. Our series is proudly brought to you in association with Woven by Toyota, Toyota's vision for a mobility society, and the Toyota mobility concept focuses on extending the value of the car, expanding mobility into new realms, and integrating mobility with social systems. In line with this framework, Woven will help Toyota to develop next-generation cars, including advanced BEVs, and to realize a mobility society in which everyone can move freely, happily, and safely. For more information on Woven's role in Toyota's vision for mobility, visit woven.toyota today. Our coverage all season brought to you by NordVPN. Visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA for up to 63% off a 2-year plan. Also, our in-cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and they've provided us with the same shot locations used from the real IMSA 12 Hours of Sebring last year. Hello again, Justin. We watched Francois run away with it last week. Do you think we'll see a repeat? How are you, and what are your thoughts about tonight?
Hey Josh, so great to be back for another round. To be honest, I don't even know if we'll see Francois repeat tonight, and I kind of love feeling uncertain about it. Like, I don't want to take away anything from Francois' win in round one, but I couldn't help but wonder these last 2 weeks. If Schofield didn't make that mistake, would he have given Martel a big fight for that lead in Tsukuba? There were only 2 100ths of a second, between these two drivers in qualifying. So I'm expecting to see David Schofield refocus tonight. Honestly, I also think we'll see Sawyer and Ragster battling for a podium spot here as well. But what I'm really excited to see in round 2 here is the war that's going to start for those middle spots, Josh.
As coming into tonight's race, here in Sebring, Florida, Francois Martel, 4-point lead over Josh Klog in the Drivers' Championship. Dalton Lott sits in the 3rd spot. Chris Wetz, Sabian Ragster rounding out the top 5. David Schofield, Andrew Parente, Brock Quinn, Jess Rakowski, Frank Klein rounding out the top 10. And in the Teams Championship, it's a dead heat between the factory woven by Toyota Racing Squad and Uneven Gaming Motorsport. And what's hilarious about that is the Lott brothers, there's only 2 of them, and they're second tied with 4 cars for the factory squad. And Sequential Sim Sport only had the 1 car, Jess Rakowski. They sit in third with 26. Couple of extra entries that are here. We have JP Ramos making his first start, Ryan Gonzalez, Cody Erdman, Justin Ament. So we have 18 cars here, and 5 minutes into qualifying, we take a look at the board, Justin. Josh Klog, fastest over Francois Martel by 0.008 of a second.
Oh, I really like to see that, because Josh Klog kind of struggled a little bit in that test race we had about a month ago. He ended up taking tires too, which kind of just blew his chances. And you can tell he almost had a chip on his shoulder and came in and said, you know what, this is going to be my track. And I mean, after a solid performance and taking second place in the first round, he's definitely locked and loaded for a win here.
Is just trying to see anyone on a fastest lap so far. 18 cars racing this evening. I'm just trying to figure out who we're missing and who's here. I'm sure obviously we'll figure that out. I don't believe Trevor Kratzer's here, as he raced last week, and I think we're missing Sashit as well in one of the factory cars. So there's a couple of them that are missing, but it's all good that we have 18 matching that field size, as we're currently on board Brock Quinn in the 005 in one of the Woven by Toyota racing cars, and your former teammate on Woven, or Renovo Racing, there, when he was in Rallycross. So, and Brock was fast here in that test race as well. So curious to see what'll happen with the 005 this evening.
Yeah, Brock is a phenomenal road racing driver, and we're kind of about the same pace, or at least we have been in our respective careers, I guess, through Woven. We really jive super well, and like being so close in pace is phenomenal for practicing. I mean, when you're practicing with a driver, those lead follows are just great practice for gaining speed. And if you can find a driver who's just a little bit of an edge on you in some spots and you're a bit of an edge on other spots, you just elevate each other, and that's what we're going to see with this Woven team this season. You're going to see Savian Regster working very hard to elevate these drivers and bring them up, and Brock is already showing tremendous pace and huge leaps in speed in these last few months.
So David Schofield just left the pit lane. Martel is about halfway through a lap. He's trying to battle with one car. It was Chris Wetz in the 71, taking a look at Josh Klog to finish his flying lap. His last lap was a 1:13.586, and it was a 6:90, so he didn't go quickest. And Francois, I don't have accurate sector times, but certainly Chris Wetz going off the road and coming across in front of him is not going to help his lap time, Justin.
Yeah, it actually looks like Francois Martel's running a lap right now that is about half a tenth quick, half a second faster actually, and he's about to cross the line here now, so let's see what this comes in to be.
And even the French Canadian, with a car spinning off in front of him, will cross the start-finish line. It was 1:13.8, 1:14.1, so a second slower. That definitely did affect him. Wetz going off did. So let's try and find Schofield in the 27.
Wow, and actually that lap that Francois just put up is, again, just a hair behind. We're looking at like not even 2/10, 2/100. You got a 1:13.219 and then a 1:13.227. 8 1/1000ths of a second, Josh.
As it's a lot like last week. What was it? 3 1,000ths of a second between those two?
It was 2 100ths between Francois Martel and Josh and David Schofield, the P1, P2.
So Francois trying to run this lap. He got by Eli Sasak in car number 9 down to the hairpin lifter on the dirt. And the championship leader loops it in the hairpin.
And that's a toe back, 100%.
Just under 6 minutes left. And like we've mentioned before on our various calls, whether it's NASA or EMSA, you do have to complete your lap before you hit 0 seconds on the board. So still plenty of time, but just keep that in mind. We'll be watching a flurry of cars exiting the pit lane with about, I would say, 2.5 minutes left. Taking a look off monitor, Cody Erdman slams the wall in the 52, making his first start this evening in this series. Schofield goes quickest, 1 minute 13.137 for the man from New Hampshire. I was waiting for that lap time. I was waiting for it. We talked about it in the opener, how he had that bad luck in Tsukuba. And you got to keep him contained. Otherwise, I think he's going to run off into the sunset.
Oh, absolutely. And he was knocking on the doorstep sitting there in third, and all he needed was a bit of clean air. And
Francois gets held up by JP Ramos in the 64. Potentially, I mean, definitely it looked like it. At least when you're in a road car like this, even if a car's in your field of view, you'd have to be superhuman not to be bothered by it, as you're so focused on your apexes, you see a car there, and it completely breaks your focus. So,
a car behind you too is enough to be a little pain point in your mind for sure.
We'll just have to wait and see about Francois. Ragster off track in the 91 at the hairpin, not moving, so he's doing the right thing, waiting for everyone to go by. He goes by in the 91 to get back on track. Schofield crosses the line, 1 minute 13.396. Josh Klug right behind him. Francois crosses the line, but he ran off the track. Klug across the line, and it's to begin a lap, it looks like. Didn't count that last lap, so top three are 4/10 of a second. I was going to call it half a second, but 4/10 up on Chris Wetz is Schofield, Klug, and Martel.
I mean, and you have the top 6 drivers in the 113s as well, and the low 113s. 113.7 is your top end of that. So that's wow. That top 6 battle is going to be very spicy tonight.
Let's find somebody on track on a hot lap, and if it's Francois went off the track in the 12, so his lap, Klug has spun.
Klug's down.
So where is Schofield? We still have 3.5 minutes left, but we're running out of time here in qualifying. And the man from New Hampshire, that last lap, like I mentioned, 1 minute 13.396. He comes off the hairpin, and once you get off the hairpin here in Sebring, at least, of course, in these cars, it is full throttle down to the Cunningham corner, basically turn 1 on this track. So he crosses the line, 1 minute 13.4, so pace beginning to fall. I think Klug and Martel, they're on the catbird seat unless they make a mistake here.
Yeah, and you see a lot of drivers getting out of these guys' way, just letting them get a clean lap in because they know the urgency here. There's just a few laps left, and you make a mistake and run off the track and get back into the pits. You have to do a full lap, get out there again, and roll out. So you waste a lot of time by making mistakes. It's very deceiving.
As crossing the line, Francois, this lap won't count. Klug just begins a lap, I do believe. Francois' lap will not count. Taking a look at Brock Quinn behind him in the 005. He crosses the line. It was 1 minute 23, so that was a warm-up lap. Jess Rakowski currently sitting in 10th. She crosses the line. Her last lap was a 14.6, and that was to begin a lap. That was a warm-up lap. So just taking a look at everyone crossing the line here. Frank Klein in the 33, 1 minute 26, so that was another warm-up lap. Everyone not on any flyers right now, Justin.
Yeah, and it's also tricky to come out of the pits here too when everything's so scrambled up. It's nice when it first starts out, you can kind of decide when you get in there and shuffle your way in nice, and if you get into a groove, you can have quite a bit of time out there with nobody in your way. But when cars start to spin and return to the pits and get back out there, it can be difficult to find a nice little way back in there and do it quickly so you can have some more time on track and get some more time in.
As Schofield ran a 13.446. Dalton Lott spun in front of Josh Klug. Josh Klug, while slipstream isn't very prevalent with these cars, he might be getting some slipstream on Erdman, crossing the line, 1 minute 13.463. He does not improve. Francois will cross the line in the 12. This should be the end of their qualifying runs, 1 minute 13.766. And while we do have a minute and 15. These guys would have to haul the mail for these laps to count.
Get that last one in. And Savian Ragster sneaks his way right into the top 5 at the last second. Not sure what went on there. Maybe he was just figuring some things out, but he's on his way in that top 5. And like I said, another competitor we're going to see battle for some spots tonight.
Klug was 2 off into the dirt. I'm not sure if the sim will count that as an off track, but still, even if you're running off into the dirt, you still got to drive full out just in case, one car off in front of Clog, it was Ragster in the 91. Martell's going to have slipstream of Edwin Webb in the 818 as we head down to the hairpin for the second and third men in qualifying. Schofield set that lap earlier on. It can't be touched yet. I think that's going to be an off track for Clog as we were still right on board Francois Martel. All behind Webb, contact between them, and that's going to be pole position for David Schofield here in Sebring.
Just like that.
And whether it's off track or another car involved, and that's what's tricky about it, but tricky but fascinating, I should elaborate on. Tricky but fascinating about open qualifying because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Makes it a lot more interesting. And there's a bit more strategy there too. You can't just jump out and get in there whenever you want. You got to try and find a good spot to get out there and get some clean air.
As unless it's going to let the session run out as Martel into the wall, so his qualifying run is over. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon on Clog. I think Clog's going to have this last lap to try and improve. I stand corrected, as it must be a setting you can enable in the sim, because I thought as soon as qualifying ended, it was over. So, Josh Clog, defending Supercar champion in NASA Rallycross, down to the hairpin for now, the final time, as I stand corrected there. He was a little bit too far off the last lap. Perfect line on exit. And now the flat-out blast up the straightaway through the Fangio chicane to the start-finish line. Will Clog from Maryland improve in the 199, crossing the start-finish line. 1 minute, 13.446. Now we can say it. Pole position, David Schofield.
David Schofield. And like I said, driver, he's going to be refocused tonight. He's going to come in, and there he is. Sits at the top, unless something outrageous happens, which I don't think it's going to. Look at that. In the top seven tonight in the 113s. That's beyond impressive. And everybody here in the middle.
At our starting grid. David Schofield, Josh Clog, front row. Francois Martel, Chris Wetz, Sabian Ragster, Brock Quinn, Dalton Lott, Frank Klein, Cody Erdman, Jared Lott, Jess Rakowski, Eli Sasak, Ryan Gonzalez, JP Ramos, Justin Ament, Edwin Webb, and Jake Robichaud. As Joseph DiGiacomo, 18th. Not on that graphic, apparently, so he is in the 18th position for 845 Subi. As thanks for joining us on the Automotive Sports Network for round 2 of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge. With Justin Robichaud next to me in the commentary box, my name is Josh Mertz. Bryan Sawyer down in the production truck, as always. And we get ready for this 45-minute race here in Sebring, Florida. And we had fun for the test race about a month ago, and it was still super fun.
With half the cars.
With half the cars. As we watched, it was Schofield and Clog. I don't think Martel was in that race, but certainly exciting. And Clog and Schofield and Martel all over each other once again in qualifying. And I'll tell you what, this is... like I said last week, brewing to be a great series if we have 3 cars on top of each other in every single race. Just a couple, maybe we have time for some programming notes. NASA Rallycross Lights, Saturday in Daytona. Then we'll have NASA Rallycross Supercars Monday in Bark River. And then our next race for the NASA Sports Car Challenge in a couple weeks, August 10th, Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. All races, whether ASN Live or ASN On Demand, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we begin to roll here shortly, and we'll do the, of course, the necessary. Be sure to subscribe and like all of our content on the Automotive Sports Network. We begin to roll, Justin. Clog, Schofield on the front row of the grid, and it's a long run down to the first corner.
Oh boy, I'm excited. Look at all those cars, and we got some people warming up tires already, so I'm very excited. Very excited.
Schofield on pole, Clog alongside him. Thank you for joining us for round 2 of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge on the Automotive Sports Network. 18 cars, 45 minutes, and a guaranteed pit stop. And this turn 1, absolutely chaos, if we remember from the test race. 40 miles an hour, down to the start-finish line, safety car to pit lane. Field in the hands of David Schofield. We go green in Sebring, Florida. Off the line. Equal start between them. Clog pulling Schofield just by a pinch. Martell looking to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide. Wetz on his left. Down to the first corner. Clog takes the spot. He takes the lead over Schofield. Side by side, Martell and Wetz. In the back of the field, Quinn versus Ragster. And then it's Klein, Lott, Erdman, Lott, Rakowski, Sasak, Gonzalez, Amit, Ramos and Robichaud, Edwin Webb, and DiGiacomo. Pulling away is Clog by about 2.5 car lengths over David Schofield. Martell a car length back, single file. Lott to the looking was Klein on Lott in the 33 and the 45. But even start all over the rear wing of David Schofield is Francois Martel. Down the back straightaway to the hairpin. Everyone looking single file. No chaos so far. Hopefully we don't have a commentator's curse, but this first corner, this first hairpin, I should say, much slower than the final corner last week in Tsukuba. Will we get any last of the light breakers? Martel does it on lap 1. Contact between them. Off the road goes Martell. Through goes Wetz. Through goes Quinn and Ragster. Martell might have damage on the left side of that car. And in the back of the field again is David Schofield. And the points leader made a daring move, Justin, at the end of the first lap.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting a move like that on the first lap. That was just unbelievable. You get stuck together like that and there's no turning. It was nice to see him kind of move out of the way and give the position back. But that's a huge loss for both of them, really.
As Jared Lott and Rakowski mid-pack. Close battle. Rakowski looking driver's left. Down to the right-hander. Inside looking was Eli Sasak. Thought they were going to make it 3 wide. Rakowski still hanging on the outside in the 999. Battling Lott in the 37. Deep on the brakes. Rakowski still hanging on in the 999. Lott gets the run off the corner. We get an update on our points leader, Martell, sitting in 12th. And at the sharp end of the field, Clog pulling away, Wetz in second, third Quinn, fourth Ragster, fifth Dalton Lott. Not going to spoil anything from the light show you'll see Saturday, but Josh Clog has a horseshoe somewhere, and it's where the sun doesn't shine, I think. To the inside of Quinn goes Ragster, the Woven by Toyota factory teammates battling. Ragster under acceleration. The car did not want to play nice. Wow. Dalton Lott looking to make it 3 wide. I'm trying to give you a moment, but the teammates won't let me. Down the straightaway. Ragster holding on. They're 2-car tandeming on the driver's left down to the first corner.
And Bryan does not want to give it to him at all, but Dalton Lott's sitting there just waiting for a move. He knows something might happen.
Nearly contact between them. Lott had a huge run off the corner as we ride on board the 45. I thought they were going to make contact. Ragster takes the spot from his teammate, crosses nearly into the racing line, and Ragster takes the spot. Quinn's got a
team orders. Sorry, buddy. If there are team orders there, wow, they are fierce, and there is no mercy.
Contact between Klein and Rakowski as they are a five cars under a blanket right here on lap number 3. Rakowski loops it, or it's Erdman there, sorry, in the 52. And both sequential cars, as we take a look off monitor, Rakowski and the 999 spun, so sequential SimSport plummeting down the order. We take a look up front just for a moment. Clog, Wetz, those top 2 have not changed, but Brock Quinn all over his teammate's rear wing, Justin.
Oh, yeah, he's really giving it to him. Like I said, if there are team orders here between these two, they're not really showing it, or they're acting it very well, because this is some aggressive racing from the both of them.
As last lap for Clog, 13.6. I'm going to take a look at Schofield, 14.6. He might have some suspension damage. We ride on board the 005 of Brock Quinn. He was half a second down on his teammate Ragster that last lap. Let me tell you about Chris Wetz. He's known around NASA, obviously, for his longevity in NASA Rallycross, but Chris Wetz is a really good road racer, and he's hanging with Josh Clog right now. He was only a 10th down that last lap.
Chris Wetz has been impressive just from the moment he joined. He signed up really late. I was very, very, very happy to see him hit the registration.
Not to cut you off, Quinn had a huge run off of the corner. Look drivers left in the Woven cars side by side. Down the back straightaway to the hairpin. If Ragster has a sniff of the corner, you know he's going to make the move. He tucks behind his teammate,
yep,
brakes early, and Quinn takes the spot.
Brock loves that move. He did it how many times in our test race? Like 3?
Numerous.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he tried to make that move. I can't remember who he was
It
passing.
was like
but he
4
tried
laps in a row.
4 laps in a row, and he finally got the move done.
Unbelievable.
We ride on board Schofield in the 27, looking to driver's left of Frank Klein. This is for the 6th spot. Takes the spot.
Easily.
Will Klein do the over-under? He got a better run mid-corner, obviously. Better line through the corner.
Right now, he is quite literally stuck to the rear bumper of him.
They are nearly 2-car tandeming down to the corner. Just flicking through the field. Nothing really happening through the field after the sequential cars had their issues. So Ragster, Quinn, Lott, that's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And Wetz was 0.6 of a second faster than Clog that last time around. So I'm not sure if the man from Maryland had a mistake. But Wetz closing in on the defending supercar champion, They're 1 car around in the back, and it is Ryan Gonzalez in the 024. That was from the 10th spot, so he plummets down the order.
You hate to see that. Very easy to do on this track. You can hit the curbing. It's very flat, very easy to lose the rear end. The car's loose enough as it is.
We take a look to end lap number 5. Josh Clog, 13.7. Wetz, 13.9 as it updated. So 0.2 down that last lap for Wetz, but still hanging on to the rear wing of the 199. It's not to predict the race here, Justin, but I think there's going to be a battle for 3rd between the Woven teammates, and I think this is going to be just a battle for the win between these two. I don't think the Woven cars, again, no disrespect, I don't think they have anything for the top 2 tonight, especially if they're going to squabble.
No, I agree. It doesn't really look like it. I mean, they're riding each other pretty hard, and if they continue to do that all night and go side by side, it's just going to get worse. It looks like Savian Reichster's making a bit of a gap right now, but he's still got a lot of work to catch up to Chris Wetz, and Chris Wetz is just hanging on to Josh, waiting for a mistake. And I don't want to commentators curse it, but Josh did make a mistake and spin at the very end of his race, so you got to wonder, is he fully prepared? I'm really excited to see if the cream rises to the top, though, for his practice, for sure.
I'm curious to see Dalton Lott, if he can make it through these 2 Woven cars and potentially steal a 2nd podium away. Early days, of course, tonight in Sebring, but we remember from a couple weeks ago, after the chaos in turn 1, he found himself in the 3rd spot on the podium. Last lap real quick for Clog, 13.581. It was a 13.798, so another 0.2 down. Ragster matched Wetz. Quinn was 0.4 down. Lott was quicker than Quinn, 0.2 away, so a couple car lengths between the 005 and the 45.
And
David Schofield,
even faster still.
right there as well in the 27. 2nd week in a row that something happened to the man from New Hampshire, but this time it wasn't his fault. Lott to the inside of Quinn, locks up the right front. Can he take the spot? Side by side, Quinn's got the run off the corner. He's going to have the inside line through the right, through the left if he can maintain it. But Dalton Lott should have the slipstream. Wider apex, looking driver's left, getting the slipstream down the straightaway. If he looks to driver's left, will we see a defense from Quinn? Looking is Lott in the 45, edging closer to be side by side, down to the hairpin. Schofield loves this in the 27, into the braking zone, very deep on the brakes is both of them. Quinn to the inside, trying to take the spot. They're still side by side. Lott off the corner, pinches Quinn to the curb, but he can't make the spot happen yet. And Lott should clear him now, but Justin, Quinn's going to have the draft down the straightaway, and here comes Schofield.
And Schofield is just sitting there waiting, like I said before. He's just waiting for a mistake,
Inside.
And here's a move.
Quinn, Brock's car complains of the braking, and he slides it into the wall in the 005. And that is how on edge, Justin, you have to drive these cars, even without traction control and ABS.
You really do. You really do. Just a bit of overzealousness, and you're finding yourself over-rotating. The cars don't have a ton of power. They seem like they might be, a bit slow at your first impression, or compared to a GT3 car. But wow, when they let loose, there's no catching them. Well, I don't say no catching them, but they're tough. They're tough. They're quite loose.
We talked about Ragster potentially not having the pace or whatever it may have been with the Woven cars and Dalton Lott. Now Lott under pressure from Schofield. Just an update up front. Clog 855 to Wetz 622. 0.2 of a second. Schofield to the outside of Lott in the 45 and the 27. Backs up the corner. He's back up to the 5th spot after being in 10th on the first lap.
Unbelievable, and he's being so patient right now too. You can tell he's not trying to force a move with Dalton right now. He's just running his line. He's going to be a bit aggressive here. Going to poke him a bit. You let him know he's there. Be a bit of a nuisance in his rearview mirror, and he'll edge up a mistake.
He was a 10th up, Schofield was, on Lott. I feel like Lott might be holding up Schofield. Martel, we forgot about our points leader. Fastest man of all, 13.0. Just to update you up front, Wetz has matched Clog's time at the front of the field. Let's take a look at our points leader, Francois Martel. He sits in the 7th position in the 12 car, ahead of Jared Lott in the 37. So he's making his way through the field after that late maneuver into the hairpin on the first lap of the race.
And Francois Martel's last lap was his fastest of the race at a 1:13 flat, 1:13.090, and that's the fastest of the race right now. Unbelievable lap time. He's almost in the 112s. We haven't seen that today at all. And he starts doing that, and he gets some clean air, maybe with some good pit strategy here very soon, which we're going to see unfold. He could very well come back and be in contention for a podium spot.
We complete lap number 9 here in Sebring, Florida. Chris Wetz was a 10th up, and you're going to ask, Josh, why are you giving us lap times every single lap? You don't understand. In NASA, every 10th counts, and to the inside of Lott goes Schofield, deep on the brakes, nearly contact. Schofield had to turn very hard right to avoid contact with the 45, and he cannot get by as Martel stuck behind Frank Klein, it looks like, in the 45. And Wetz, a car length from him to Clog for the race lead.
I'm watching back that pass or that little lockup from Schofield, the hard turn, and I'm just blown away by the control he has with that vehicle. Like you said, he had to really ream on it to not get hit, and that's just unbelievable.
He's going to get the huge run off the corner here, down the back straightaway to the hairpin, looking driver's left. He's got a huge run. In relation to these cars, at least, pulling even with Dalton Lott. If he can maintain this, he should have the corner and the second part of the chicane. Will he complete it under braking side by side? Lott holds strong, pinches him to the curb. They're still side by side. Up front, it's a car length between them, and Wetz was 0.4 of a second faster than Clog that last lap in the 199. Complained mid-corner and on corner exit, trying to focus on these two battles.
Wow.
As we look, Wetz looking to driver's left on Clog. They're making contact for 4th between Lott and Schofield. Schofield takes the spot, put him to 4th.
Wow, David Schofield's poised to go for a podium spot here, and he seemingly was almost over here, mid-pack, not that long ago. And wow, there's too many battles to even follow at this point. There's so much going on.
As Martel sits in the 7th spot, our points leader. Josh, it's been one race. Why are you talking about points? Again, in NASA, you can win a championship by 1 point. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. And Francois Martel needs all the points he can get, just like David Schofield did last week. You have to maintain damage limitation, and the 12 trying his best. But Clog out front, and Schofield sits in P4. It is not looking good for Martel at the moment, especially Dalton Lott up the road as well.
No, he's sandwiched right here, and he has to make a move very quick. Or like I said, rely on some pit strategy luck almost. He's definitely being held up, though, and if he makes this a habit, it's not going to be looking good. His last lap time was a 1:14.8. That's about 1.8 seconds off his fastest. So
as Clog,
look at him, he's all over the place. He's trying to get by Frank so badly
looking
right now.
driver's right. He's going to send it into the braking zone and put
goes.
the points leader up to the 6th spot. A little bit wide in the 12, two wheels off. It's all good, but here comes Klein in the 33. Side by side, one of the Lott brothers,
Back
Jared,
on the
looking
attack.
driver's left. Will we have 3 wide? Martel deep on the brakes again. Nearly contact between them. Off the road goes the points leader in the 12. Coming back out onto the track, he gets passed by Jared Lott, and desperation sinking in for the 12, Justin.
You could see it. I mean, he's just way too aggressive right now. Really, really late on the brakes on the outside. I don't know what he was thinking there, to be honest. But yeah, desperation is going to be hard to get you out of this position right now, especially where Frank Klein is just saying, absolutely no way today, I'm going to hold this. And wow, honestly, great driving, in my opinion, to hold off a driver like Francois fairly and cleanly like that. I'm pretty impressed.
As At the line, Clog ran a 13.7, Wets a 13.9. They have ebbed and flowed throughout this first 15 minutes here in Sebring, Florida. Sabian Ragster equaled Josh Clog's pace, I should say, in the 199. Schofield, Dalton Lott rounding out the top 5. Frank Klein, Jared Lott, and Francois Martel. And Francois getting held up by these two, and it's no disrespect to Frank Klein and Jared Lott. They're doing everything they need to do to stay in front of the points leader, but Francois just can't find a way around, and he's forcing it into corners that they really wouldn't happen, like this corner that last time around when he ran off the track. As we look at Wets in the 71, 2/10 down on Clog that last time around. The gap is just under 0.5 of a second. Down to the braking zone. A little bit later apex is Wets compared to Clog. He's going to get a better run off the corner, but it looks like Clog might pull him here.
Francois Martel's making some aggressive moves right here behind Jared as well, trying to get by.
Martel looks driver's left down to the braking zone.
Gets him on the outside.
Takes the spot,
comes down in just narrowly.
As up front, the gap looks like it's narrowing 4.5 tenths between the top two, and Francois Martel at the other end sets his sights back on Frank Klein in the 33. If you're David Schofield, you're running a quiet race. In the 4th position, and the gap just under 0.5 for the race lead. This is so fascinating to watch these two. It's so hard to talk and watch at the same time because you just want to look at everyone's lines, and just such a good race. And we're thankful to have everyone join us here on ASN Live for the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge. Justin Robichaud next to me. My name is Josh Mertz. Bryan Sawyer pushing all the buttons in the production truck. Gap is almost under 0.4 of a second from Clog to Wets.
And Francois Martel comes up in the 6th, passes Jared Lott.
As Klein went off in the 33, I'll take a look off monitor and see, and he slid it. I think it's turn 7, hit the brakes, and just slid wide in the 33.
Easy to do, especially when you have a driver harassing you in your rearview mirror like that. It's tough.
So Martel has a huge margin to make up on Dalton Lott and David Schofield. It's going to be a lot to ask for the French Canadian to manage that gap, as everyone running in their own little clusters around their own pace. Wets pushing so hard he's driving off the track to match Josh Clog's lap times here in the 71.
But he's matching his lap times. I mean, like the last lap he was 2/100ths quicker, or 2/100ths quicker. So he's really just hanging on by a thread, just waiting for that one mistake. You know, if it happens, it's all his.
We talk about in the NASA Rallycross broadcast on Monday evening, always the bridesmaid, never the bride in the 71. I won't go on a Rallycross tangent too much, but Chris Wets, so fast on his day. It just never goes right.
No, and you know what? Like I said, one mistake from Clog, and he could be the bride tonight.
And historically, Chris Wets never have an interview, as he doesn't race with a mic. At least over the last 10 years, I've grown to know that. So something happens, or if Wets is on the podium, we might have an interview with the 71, the man from Texas. He was 2/10 down on Clog that last lap.
What a treat.
Sitting in 3rd is Ragster. 4th is Schofield. 5th, Dalton Lott. 6th, Francois Martel. It's about 6.5 seconds from Lott to Martel in the 45 to the 12. Jared Lott, Brock Quinn, Frank Klein, and Cody Erdman rounding out the top 10. Eli Sasak, JP Ramos, Jess Rakowski, Ryan Gonzalez, Jake Robichaud, Edwin Webb, Justin Ament, and Joseph DiGiacomo rounding out the field here. As just like that, we are already about 20 minutes through this race. It does not feel like that, Justin.
No, I'm kind of sitting here like with my mouth wide open, to be honest, just watching a few of these battles, because it's just unbelievable. I don't even know who to talk about, because there's just a lot of guys running really close together right now. Things are separating a bit. Have we seen any pits yet?
We have not seen any pit strategy yet here in Sebring, Florida. So
that is
expecting this soon. Clog 10th down on wets, gap just over 0.4 of a second. To put it in perspective, they're 5 seconds ahead of the next car, Sabine Ragster, who's 4 seconds ahead of David Schofield. So the top two, closest battle so far, it looks like, as I just take a look through the field. So we're going to step aside a little early before pit stops begin, so don't go away. We'll be back to Sebring, Florida in just a minute.
You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous.
With your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Side nearly 3 wide of Matt and Palacio. Front bumper of a Betty down to turn 2. Clog takes the lead. Will still has him jokered inside. Clog on McKenna. Contact between them. Well, Romain Rateau has led all evening long, but Schofield to the inside, and he makes it stick. Funny story about Bryan Sawyer. He showed up to the track 5 minutes ago with 0 practice, and each lap increasing in pace for the man from Wisconsin. Mertz deep on the brakes in the 812, clobbering the curve to get by Olivier Rateau. We welcome you back to round number 2 of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge with Bryan Sawyer in the production truck, Justin Robichaud alongside me in the commentary box. My name is Josh Mertz, live on the Automotive Sports Network. Just a reminder, our series is brought to you in association with Woven by Toyota, mobility to love, safety to live. For more information, visit woven.toyota today. Coverage tonight also brought to you by NordVPN. For up to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA. And finally, our cameras for the entire season provided by TrackCams22.com. Justin Robichaud, Frank Klein was the first car to pull the pin to the grenade and said, I'm going to strategize now. Sabine Ragster in the pit lane, Eli Sasak in the pit lane, trying to find our race leaders, Josh Clog and Chris Wetz. They have not pitted in the 199 and the 71. And this is the real bit of strategy here. Edwin Webb in the back of the field pits as well. So the top 2 skip the pit lane. Will Schofield, who is shuffled up to 3rd Will he pit? He does not. Dalton Lott passes the pit lane, and a guy named Francois Martel comes in as the points leader. If you're just joining us, had an issue in the hairpin on the first lap here in Sebring. Came together with Schofield. He did not pit, so no pit stops so far for the top 5.
None for the top 5 at all. And the average pit times right now are coming in at around 26 seconds. Our fastest one right now is the 25.6. So, yeah, no tires at all from the looks of it. And I think that's probably going to be the trend for all the drivers. We're just waiting for that top 5 to come in and see where everything shakes down. Savian Ragster might come out behind somebody. He could come out in traffic. He could come out with clean air. I think that's going to be what you're going to want. You're going to want to come out with some clean air with your pit and try and get some hot laps in, especially if you've been running behind somebody.
As Clog was 0.3 of a second slower that last time around. No cars in the pit lane just yet. Justin Ament, Eli Sasak in front of the leaders. Clog pits. So does Wetz. No strategy between these two. It's all going to be who can get down to the box. They're on the pit limiter, down to the box and serviced. I doubt tires. Did Josh Clog learn his lesson from that last test race? And David Schofield did not pit, it looked like.
He misses the box. Wetz misses the box, and he has to go back. His pit timer started 2 seconds back behind Josh Clog's. That's a huge mistake.
Man from Texas will get pulled away in the pit lane, and he's going to hemorrhage time.
The box time.
Where will they come out in relation? Edwin Webb in between these two.
That just
and Edwin
took
Webb
2
in
seconds.
the 16th spot.
2 seconds added to the gap between Josh Clog and Chris Wetz. Just on a small mistake, just a little bit of an underbrake into your pit box, and that's it. He's got to claw that right back.
The gap is 2 seconds between them now, and Edwin Webb in the way of our second place man once the strategy filters through, or if it filters through for one of these guys to benefit. Francois Martel, Dalton Lott, David Schofield. Schofield leads on the road. He has not pitted in the 27. As pitting looks like Ryan Gonzalez and Justin Ament as well. Schofield in the 27 pits. I don't think that extra lap is going to help him too much to gain time. We'll just have to wait and see. Pitting is Martel. Through the Fangio chicane is Josh Clog. He will pass the pit lane.
Schofield's in there too.
I think it's going to be a very easy pass for the lead for Josh Clog. Passing pit exit.
Yep.
Wetz gets by pit exit.
Carries on.
And Justin Ament, first car out of the pit lane, but he is off the lead lap compared to these guys. As Ragster gets by Schofield. Ragster, I don't think, is pitted in the 91, although I could be wrong there.
Yes, he actually went off a little bit earlier than everybody else, which was a pretty good strategy.
As now Dalton Lott leads on the road in the 45. Quinn gets by Erdman in the 52, as I do believe Erdman has pitted for sequential sim sport. So now Wetz got by, but obviously the ticker won't lie, and I'll just have to mention lap times because I'm stubborn. 1 minute 34.689 for Clog was his pit lap. 1 minute 36.739 for Chris Wetz. So definite 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was.
And what a shame.
Yeah, the box time for Josh Clog rang in at a 25.8, and Chris Wetz with a 27.9. Literally 2.1 seconds, and all it takes is just a little bit of underbrake. Missed that box.
Hits in the 45. So where will he come out in relation to the cars that he's battling? I think Ragster's going to get by. Ragster had to pass Ament in the 6. Schofield in the 27, I think, goes by as well. If we're taking a look, the car exiting the pit lane should be Dalton Lott. He's going to come out ahead of David Schofield.
Yeah, just by a bit. Just by a little bit there, and David Schofield's going to be hunting for that position. Hunting for it.
Let's get a running order reset through the top 5. Clog, Wetz, Ragster, Lott, Schofield. I think everyone's pitted in the top 5. Martel, Quinn, Jared Lott, Cody Erdman, Frank Klein rounding out the top 10.
JP just dipped down there. We actually only have one driver who hasn't pitted yet, and that's Joseph DiGiacomo.
So Rakowski in the pit lane, JP Ramos in the pit lane, and DiGiacomo has not pitted.
Actually, he just dove down. just went down in there right as I said
Making
it.
me to be a liar. So everyone has pitted after 40 minutes. Or sorry, 30 minutes. I know how to do math. So Clog wets, gap is 2.5, and it's so, like I said, it's so disheartening. Last lap for Clog, 1 minute 13.9, 1 minute 13.8 by wets. And the problem is with these cars, problem for lack of a better word, it's so tight at the top of the table. You can't make mistakes like that.
Oh my word! And we've got the number 6 around on a. That's Justin Ament. Unfortunate. Didn't take anybody with him though. Looks like he's still just struggling to get used to his new kit. Had a whole brand new Mazda kit come in, and he's kind of fresh back into the sim after a little bit of time down. So
we do have a battle on track: Schofield versus Dalton Lott, 27 versus 45. As we take a look, and Dalton Lott keeping up with one of the best in the NASA Sports Car Challenge. Granted, it's only one race. Why do you say he's the best then? Well, when the GT3 NASA Challenge was, GT3 Sports Car Challenge was around, Schofield was always up front in those cars as well. So Schofield very fast on full pavement tracks. Yet to see him back in the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge. But in case you missed it, the Pro World Championship drivers back allowed in the championship. NASASimRacing.com for more information there. Super excited to continue that championship. So Dalton Lott pulled by about a car length and a half further from Schofield, and the gap still 2.5 seconds between Clog and Wets. This is, I believe, the closest battle we have on track. Actually, Quinn versus Jared Lott. Car length between these guys. They are battling for the 7th position.
Yeah, Dalton Lott and Jared Lott here are both hanging on to somebody, just trying to make a move or hope for something to happen. As Brock comes into this turn here. Oh, we're watching Schofield right now. I'm watching a totally different battle on a different monitor. See, there's so much going on here. It's just we don't even know what to do with ourselves.
This is also week number 3 for you of doing this. You'll learn it eventually that you have to multitask pretty well. As we pay attention on monitor to Quinn and Jared Lott in the 005 and the 37. The battle between the other Lott brother and Schofield has fizzled out for the moment, so it looks like that's the closest one we have so far. Gap remains 2.5 at the front of the field. Clog versus Wets. Dragster, Schofield, Lott, the remaining cars in the top 5. Quinn was about 1/10 of a second faster than Jared Lott that last time around, as they are coming around to end lap number 26 here in Sebring, Florida.
And Lott was hard on the brakes on the hairpin coming off the long straight, and kind of
one car around on the hairpin is JP Ramos, throws it in reverse. I mean, it's better than staying there on the racing line, so I guess it's kind of the right thing. He gets refired and going. No issue for anybody else to make contact with him. Taking a look off monitor to Giacomo, deep on the brakes on Ament. This is not for position. Ament is 1 lap down to Giacomo, 2 laps down in the 55. Gap is 2 seconds now between Clog and Wets. It was half a second the last lap. I'm going to take a look off monitor here, Justin.
Wow.
What happened to Clog? Clog got held up, looks like, by Jake Robichaud.
Yeah, he ran a 1:14.2. So just getting stuck in traffic, and that's going to bridge a little bit of a gap here and keep Wets clinging on.
Gap 1.6 at the lowest, goes up to 1.8. Wets, half a second, like I mentioned. We're going to come to finish lap number 27, and I might have spoke too soon. One thing I know about Chris Wets is when you light a fire underneath him, he'll figure out a way to gain speed. Clog crosses the line 14.2. Wets 13.6. Another half second.
Wow. And you do a few more of those, there's still a bit of time left to make a move.
As Ragster third, Schofield, Lott, that running order has not changed. The battle in the back of the field, it was with, I believe, Jared Lott and Brock Quinn. That has fizzled out, that gap between them. Just over 1 second here in Sebring, Florida. Fascinated to see what's going to happen here in the closing stages. Just over 10 minutes left here in Sebring, Florida, and the gap is 0.8 of a second.
Oh my! Chris Wets has just got him on a hook right now, and he's reeling him in. And there's no traffic in front of Josh Clog right now, so we can't blame that on any lap traffic. He's just running 1:14.2s. Hard to say. Did he scrub a tire too much here? Did he overheat something?
I'll tell you this. So knowing Chris Wetz for the 10 years from NASA Rallycross, one car around in front of them,
That's Ryan
it was Ryan Gonzalez. He pulls out in front of Ragster. Not to go off too far on a tangent, but I've known Wetz for over 15 years. He used to race on a Logitech Momo, if you remember that wheel, from 2007, yes. And he just now recently, at least he for sure recently upgraded. I think he's on a Fanatec now, but he was racing those old Logitechs for years, and he's another half second up on Josh Clogg. I'll tell you, the second former Chris Wetz, absolutely terrifying that if he figures out the rally cars, what'll happen on that side, but he's looking real good here, Justin.
Wild. I actually started sim racing on one of those Momo wheels. It was, I don't want to say it was pleasant, but it was okay. It was a very loud and grindy wheel. It was just all gears and very whiny. I got rid of it pretty quick and got into a Logitech G29. But yeah, rest is history now. This is quite the sport, really. A lot of these guys, well, everyone in this series is running wheels and pedals of some kind, but you'll have people from all kinds running triples to VR sets. I know David Schofield runs VR. Josh Clogg runs triples. So Sabian Ragster runs VR, all over the place.
I know you just transitioned to virtual reality. I was running on virtual reality about 2020, 2021, went back to the triple monitors. That's what I prefer. I know producer Bryan Sawyer runs in virtual reality, and it's crazy what 2020 gave to the world and what 2020 gave to sim racing in general. Lap times equal out between Clogg and Wetz now, just under, or just about 8.5 minutes left here in Sebring, Florida. Comfortably third is Sabian Ragster, 2.5 seconds up on David Schofield.
Yeah, Sabian Ragster and David Schofield are both in the high 113s, while Josh and Chris are sitting at the low 114s. So, you know, there's not a lot of time for a move, but there's some time for mistakes.
As Clogg missed the apex just by a quarter of a car width, and he might be hemorrhaging a little bit of time. I'll tell you what, Dalton Lott pushing so hard to catch Schofield. He was 2/10 up that last lap, and he drove the left sides into the dirt in car 45 to try and take this spot away from Schofield. Schofield recovered back to fourth after contact on the first lap with his championship rival Francois Martel, the French-Canadian points leader here, and in NASA Rallycross Supercars. Dual disciplines for him, and he made contact in the hairpin on the first lap. I'll tell you what, gap is a second between these two. 7.5 minutes left.
Yeah, there's time. There's time for all these drivers here in the top five, really. Like I said, mistakes can happen very quickly. And Josh Clogg spun late in the race. It just, the tires will heat up. No one took tires. None of the drivers. Well, sorry, Joseph may have. Joseph and JP sat in there for a little while, but the majority of the drivers have not touched tires at all, so these things are probably screaming. They're really slinging them around here. There's a lot of 90-degree turns and heavy braking zones.
Just an update. Notice that we picked up a couple new viewers here on the Automotive Sports Network. If you'd like to join, if you enjoy what you see, NASASimRacing.com for any and all information. Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night action between Rallycross and these Toyota GR86 supercars. So, Josh Clogg, equal on lap time from Wetz that last time around. Gap still hovers at about a second. Sabian Ragster, 4.5 down the road from Clogg. Schofield, Lott, the top five. Francois Martel, 6th. Brock Quinn, Jared Lott, Cody Erdman, Eli Sasak rounding out the top 10. Frank Klein, Jess Rakowski, Ryan Gonzalez, Edwin Webb, JP Ramos through the 15th. Justin Ament, Jake Robichaud, Joseph DiGiacomo in the 18th position. So, we are crossing yet another lap done. 10th out of the gap from Wetz to Clogg. And if just over 6 minutes, still plenty of time, but Wetz is going to have to find some more lap time that he found earlier, Justin.
There is. I mean, Chris Wetz was 1/10 down, or he was 1/10 quicker. So he keeps doing times that are 1/10, 1.5, 2/10 quicker. He's got a chance. He'll be in a position to make a move.
Only thing I'm concerned of, and I do not want to do a commentator's curse or seem biased, but when Wetz gets close, we sometimes see a mistake out of the 71. Is this a change for the man from Texas. We'll just have to wait and see. They are coming up on Jess Rakowski in the 999. We remember there was some blue flag issues a couple weeks ago. We ride on board the rear wing of Josh Clogg. There was a couple of blue flag issues last week. One car off. It was DiGiacomo in the 55. Gap is 8.5 tenths. 5 minutes left in Sebring, Florida, and we're going to take a look at these lap time differences. Josh Clogg from Maryland at the line, 13.586. It was a 13.536 for Chris Wetz.
Wow.
Wetz, 7/10 of a second, 3/4 of a second. He's gaining.
He's gaining, but if he only gains by that much, he doesn't have a chance. He's got to be making 2/10, 3/10 every lap here. There's not much left to go. With 5 minutes left, you have just under 5 laps, probably 5 at this point.
Rakowski running her own race in the 12th position. Last car on the lead lap. Next car up the road would be Frank Klein, but that's a further 11 seconds up the road. I don't think they're going to catch Klein. They might catch Rakowski in the last couple laps, and Clogg really messy on the curb. It's under 7/10. It's under 6/10. Slipstreaming is Chris Wetz down the back straightaway. Under half a second between Wetz and Clogg, down to the hairpin, Justin.
That is how you gain all those tenths that you need to make a move in the final laps. You're going to use that slipstream. He just narrowly got in there at the end of it, but look how much it helped in the braking zone. This car is it gets a little bit understeery when you're in the slipstream.
This is the closest he's been. It is under 3/10 of a second. With
Will he make a
under
move?
4 minutes left to go. Too early to make a move. Run one more lap. We talk about Wetz jokering in Rallycross. Make your move late.
Nasty there. Just a bit of a hop. He's really pushing
Half a
the car
second
now.
up the last time around from Wetz to Clogg. It was a 14.0 for Clogg, 13.5 for Wetz. Clogg feels the pressure, missed the apex through the corner. Down to the right-hander 90-degree corner. Cutting the north side of the track. Gap lengthens just a bit. Ragstor, Schofield, Lott, the remaining cars in the top 5. We might look at Martel 2 seconds away from Lott looking into the top 5. We'll have to keep an eye on him there. I think Clogg got a better run off the corner. The gap is shrinking, but not as fast. We're coming to under 3 minutes left to go here in Sebring, Florida, and they are not catching Rakowski like I thought they were, Justin.
No, and that slipstream was another opportunity there for Chris Wetz to make a move, and he didn't seem to quite have the runoff of turn 8. That's the key point in this track, and your passing zone, it really is hairpin, and you need that runoff of 7 and 8. A little bit of a shimmy and a shake, but if you can hit it right and come off swinging, you've got a lot of momentum to get into the slipstream and make a move. But he's later on the brakes. He's still driving pretty aggressive. He's hitting the car's flexing and kind of hopping a bit on the exit. He's just really grabbing every bit of it out of the car.
And they're making me to be a liar. They are going to catch Jess Rakowski
like they
in
are.
the 999. Will she play a factor? Clogg up the slipstream. She stays out of the way.
Gets out of it.
But she's going to be on the racing line for Wetz.
Didn't seem to affect him a little bit. Gets
in the
a little loose on the
999.
exit.
Gap is 0.8 of a second. The gap was 0.3 of a second a couple laps ago. We know how really sensitive it is to make sure that you can stay or get a better run off this curb down the straightaway. We're coming to what looks like the penultimate lap.
Yeah, it does, and he's just outside of that slipstream. He's not going to get it. He's going to get it here. He's going to have to late brake, and if he does, you'll just see it lock up.
Pushing oh so hard in the 71 is Chris Wetz, trying to catch Josh Clogg in the 199. Think this is going to be the penultimate lap. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bryan Sawyer. Penultimate lap
We might have
here
one more
in Sebring. We'll just have to wait
might
for
have
the
a couple
sim
more.
says here.
Yeah, I think the sim, the way it shakes it down is if there's a lap that starts with just a few seconds left, it will run that extra lap. So I think we've got a couple more here. It is a bit strange when you do timed races over laps because the
Gap is half a second again.
Yeah,
this race
he's
might not
going
be
in.
over. Clear track, no lap traffic involved, and Chris Wetz knows he's got a lap and a half left to make something happen. And I think if you're Wetz, don't make the move into this hairpin if you can, unless it's right in front of your face. Wait until that last opportunity. He got a great run off the corner, but I think Clogg is going to pull him down the straightaway.
He's,
Running order
again,
has not
just on the edge of
changed.
that slipstream. He's going to be able to sneak into it here, but it's still just a bit too late.
We should have time to make this next lap and be the white flag. Clog's beginning to drive defensively in the 199. Wetz had a better run off the corner. This is going to be it, Justin, for round 2 in Sebring, Florida. We're going to take the white flag,
look at the
and
moves.
Wetz begins.
Wetz is getting the mind games going.
Wetz begins, and let me tell you, he's good at the mind games. Take it from me. White flag in Sebring, Florida. The gap is under half a second between Josh Clog and Chris Wetz, and that's how much time Wetz gained the last lap. 2 car lengths between them, ending the first sector. Wetz began those mind games, Justin. He's got half a lap to go, half a lap to do it. The gap is 4/10.
And we're coming up on that pivotal turn 7 and 8. Just after this 90 degree, there's a bit of a shimmy to the right. Nice little shake to the left, and that's where your runoff is, and this is where he's going to hit that slipstream, and the hairpin a little bit loose on the entry.
On corner entry, I can't get my words out. Wetz looks to the left. Will he get the slipstream? He's going to do a 2-car tandem down the straightaway. It's all or nothing for Chris Wetz. It has been 5 years over that in NASCAR competition, whether it's rallycross or supercars, and this is it. Final corner for Clog to the inside. Wetz holds him on the outside, and I think Clog will do it. Maybe. Wetz will have one last shot if he can get the slipstream. Coming to the checkered flag. Will it be Clog? Will it be Wetz? Off of the final corner, down to the start-finish line. Clog does it in Sebring, Florida, ahead of Chris Wetz in the 71. It's a 1/10 of a second in it between those two at the line.
Wow.
Ragster third. 4th will be Schofield. 5th will be Dalton Lott. We take a look in the back of the field. It's Eli Sasak and Frank Klein for the 10th spot, like it's the race for the race win.
Here we go.
Sasak into the corner, locks up, nearly contact between them off the track.
Smacks the curve.
Klein, contact, and Klein spins. Wow.
And causing some issues coming back in, but wow, what a way to absorb that blow by Eli Sasak and just keep that car going. That could have been disastrous for both of them.
Let me catch my breath with what we just watched.
I know. Battle.
And Frank didn't lose any spots despite that move. It wasn't just for 10th, Justin. It was for the last spot on the lead lap. Tell me that every spot doesn't matter in NASA, whether it's rallycross or sports cars.
Hey, with 18 drivers, the way the points shake down, everybody's getting points. So, and the higher you place, the better you get. So it's a couple points difference between all those guys, but it can make the difference in the end, for sure.
As I don't know if we'll get our winner, Josh Clog. Historically, he does not do interviews. I'm going to move Savy and Ragster to the media pen, and I'll bring in Savy and Ragster, our 3rd place man. Justin Robichaud, all yours.
How are you doing, Savian?
Hey, Justin. It is awesome to hear your voice, man. It's just great to be here.
What was going through your mind through that race? It seemed very hectic in your area for a long time, even with your teammate, Brock.
Yeah. So, Brock is so impressive. He is so much faster than he's been in previous seasons, and we qualified right next to each other on the grid this week, which is awesome for him, awesome for the team. And he was trying to he just got a better start than me, and then he tried to let me by on the back straight, and then I got super loose coming out of the hairpin, and then he was ahead of me again, and then it just kind of sucked because we were trying to be very friendly to each other and give each other lots of space, but then we ended up just losing out like 4 seconds, and I couldn't catch the guys ahead.
Yeah, you kind of got stuck in your own world there for a long time. How'd you find the car feeling through the long stints?
The car was okay. It was okay. My main goal was to just not hit the curbs. They're so violent and aggressive here. You just have to stay off of them. But really, it was super fun. I just wish I could have been up there with the top 2 guys, because I was looking at the lap times and it looked like we were doing about the same lap times. So it could have been a good battle.
Yep, the lap times were very similar on your guys' best for sure. You were all within about a 10th. Well, great job, Savian. Good podium. That's a great finish for Woven. Do you have anything you want to say? Any partners you want to thank?
Yeah. I just wanted to thank everyone who helped put this together back at Woven by Toyota. My direct teammates, Brock Quinn, Edwin Webb, Satchit. Sorry, I don't know your last name, but you guys are great. Thanks for showing up for practice and always pushing each other. And thanks everyone back at home and Christopher Heiser for pushing to put this whole thing together. Thanks everyone, and have a great night.
Thanks, Savian.
As I'm going to bring in, I don't know if I'm going to have an interview with our second place man, Chris West. You got me?
Yes.
You know, I've been racing with you in NASA for over 10 years, and I never thought, ever, that I'd have an interview with you. Walk me through your race, my friend.
My primary concern wasn't even going after Josh. It was mainly just keeping Savion behind us. I knew if we started battling, both Savion and Schofield were going to catch us, so I was just focused on keeping my car on track.
As I wish that I had more questions for you, but the fact that I guess walk me through missing your pit box and then clawing the gap back up to get so close on the white flag lap.
I mean, that's just a little mistake. I've got new pedals and wheels, and I'm doing 2-foot braking for the first time ever. I just started last week, so I just overshot my box a little bit.
I did make the comment that you were on the Logitech Momo forever when NASA first started, so it's good to see you not on such old technology and certainly with the pace. Justin, you got anything? Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I said I was actually on the G923 for a while, but yeah, I was actually surprised I was able to get back to Josh after that pit stop. This track, Sebring, the club circuit, has never been one of my good ones.
Justin, you got anything for our second place man?
No, he came in and answered my question that I had for him right away. What he was focusing on when he was chasing Josh Clog down, but answered that beautifully. A great race, Chris. I mean, it's just amazing. I'm still in shock, to be honest. That was just super intense and great race and a good result, buddy.
Yep, thanks.
I just want to say before you leave, it's been 11 years. I can't get over that. You got anybody to thank for your second place result, my friend?
Honestly, I don't really have any sponsors, and I'm pretty much on my own team. So, thanks iRacing.
Alrighty, my friend. Good run, and we will see you next race in Coda or for Rallycross in Bark River.
Yep, thanks.
All right, Justin Robichaud, you got one left, and it's Josh Clog. Take it away.
Oh, Josh! How are you doing, my man?
Shooey. That was close.
That was close. A lot closer probably than you were expecting how the race was going at about 40 minutes in. What was going through your head when Chris was bridging that gap?
I was just trying to, keep it together. I was made a few mistakes that, cost quite a bit of time, but I was just trying to keep doing the laps and see how it went. So it worked out.
It worked out. It did. I mean, you basically just took off right from the get-go and put in a great performance right up to the box. I don't know if you noticed. Did you notice that Chris overshot his box?
No, I didn't.
He came in right behind you, and you guys were boxing at the exact same time, and he lost out on 2 seconds by missing the box. I think that's probably what kind of sealed a little bit of it. He really had to hustle to get back to you. But just crazy how it'll come down to a pit stop. But great pit, great race. Do you have anyone you want to thank today, Josh?
Yeah, thanks for putting this on, you guys. Much appreciated. Excited to watch the broadcast back. Got it open up. See my boy Dale Scoomy in the chat.
We saw Dale Rignon for sure. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, much appreciated.
No worries. Great race, Josh. A fantastic finish. I'm excited to see how the points shake out. We'll see who's leading here very, very shortly. But you have a great night, sir, and bask in this victory for the next couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
As trying to get unofficial points as we wait, let's get confirmation on the results before we take a look at the unofficial drivers' standings exiting Sebring, Florida. Josh Clog wins round number 2 ahead of Chris Wetz in car number 71. Hate to say it again, buddy. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. By 1/10 of a second between them. Savian Ragster, David Schofield, Dalton Lott rounding out the top 5. Francois Martel, Brock Quinn, Jared Lott, Cody Erdman, and Eli Sasak rounding out the top 10. Frank Klein, Jess Rakowski, Ryan Gonzalez, Edwin Webb, JP Ramos through to 15th. Justin Ament, Jake Robichaud, and apparently Joseph DiGiacomo in 18th just doesn't appear on the graphic. I'm blaming Bryan Sawyer. Love you, buddy. unofficially, the Drivers' Championship exiting Sebring, Florida. And it's Josh Clog on top by 12. Is that 13 points? My feed's a little broken. Is that 96 versus 83?
Wow.
And then it's 1 point from Wetz to Martell, Ragster, and Dalton Lott rounding out the top 5. Schofield, Quinn, Lott, Klein, Rakowski rounding out the top 10. The Constructors' Championship, definitely points were scored, of course, but that is scored manually. So unofficially, I'm going to assume that Woven is further up on the Lott brothers for Uneven Gaming Motorsports. So you will have those totals in a couple of weeks in Circuit of the Americas. So Clog sneaks into the points lead. At least one of his seasons is going right in NASA. He missed a couple races in lights, has had terrible luck as defending champion in supercars, but here he is leading the points in sports cars, Justin.
Wow, solid work. Like I said, it was a track he struggled with, so I was so happy to see him just come in, firing on all cylinders, literally, and just taking a super solid win. Just very gritty, great defensive driving at the end, and way to not crack under pressure, because boy was Chris ever pressuring him at the end.
As a couple programming notes before we say goodnight here on the Automotive Sports Network. Round 6 of NASA Rallycross Lights will be at the Daytona International Speedway. You'll see that on Saturday, the 29th of July, 9 p.m. Eastern on ASN On Demand. You'll have myself and Bryan Sawyer for that one. Round 7 of the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge, the 28th season, will be in Bark River in Michigan for the first round of the Endurance Cup. Special format for that race. Super excited. That'll be Monday, the 31st of July, 9 p.m. Eastern on ASN Live. Myself, Bryan Sawyer, Cody Erdman, and Philip Kraus for that one. And then the third round of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge will be at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. That'll be August 10th on ASN Live, 9 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Justin Robichaud, and Bryan Sawyer for that one. If you'd like to join any of the series that you have been watching on the Automotive Sports Network, you can join us nasasimracing.com and also asntvUSA.com for any of the Automotive Sports Network. Just a reminder, our series is brought to you in association with Woven by Toyota. Mobility to love, safety to live. For more information, visit woven.toyota today. Our coverage tonight was brought to you by NordVPN. For up to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA. And finally, our cameras for the entire season are provided by Track Cams 22. What a good time for your final thought, Justin Robichaud. I'm starting to lose my voice after that finish. Take it away.
Well, I mean, what a race. What a race. I mean, if you're going to have two guys battling that hard for a position, don't you want it to be for first place to the end? You can't write a better script. You just can't. That was phenomenal. And the battles all around, everybody seemed very respectful tonight. We'll go back and see, but no, this was a phenomenal race. And for round 2, I mean, we got 8 more of this. Let's go. This is awesome.
Hopefully I'm here. My Discord froze. Am I here? Am I good?
Oh, you're good. You're good. We got you.
As soon as I muted my mic to take the drink of my water, my Discord froze, and I kind of had a heart attack. So I was like, oh no, did I just leave Justin by himself to close this in his 3rd ever stream? But, man, Clog versus Wetz. I didn't expect Wetz to claw that gap back. Ragster on the podium, Schofield recovering, Martell down the order. And what happened? Anything can happen in NASA, whether it's rallycross or sports cars, man. 18 cars, 45 minutes, crazy racing. As I think it's about to close this up. So from all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, from Justin Robichaud and Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz, as we hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge tonight from Sebring, Florida. Congratulations to Josh Clog, and be sure to join us Saturday evening for lights. But until then, so long, everyone.